Hey everyone, how's it going? Alright, let's see if we can turn an AI generated image into a 3D model. Obviously, we already know it's possible, but I've been looking at several options and I wanted to summarize them here and share the one that gave me the best results, at least in my experience. I generated images with Near East because that's the one I have credits for, and honestly, yes, the images are really good, but I'll tell you right now, I tried with these and the results in a 3D model are really bad because the textures are poor because, well, these aren't separate pieces. I mean, all of this looks great, but it didn't give me any results. And this one, even less so. With Mesh AI, which I thought would be the best, it actually interprets everything pretty badly. This one, for example, is a model that also, well, the image looks really nice, but I'm telling you right now, don't bother trying to turn this into a 3D model because it doesn't make sense. For now, this isn't a technology that's useful for that, right? We're not gonna get good results. I tried with this other image generator. So here I generated these images. The one I like the most is this one, although the other one looks better because the background is flatter, but I prefer this type of robot. I'm not going to enhance the image because I want it to have fairly smooth textures, so I'll just download it as is. Now I'm going to open this program. I tried others as I mentioned, but I didn't like how the models turned out with the textures. Let's see if this one comes out a little better. And here I'm going to leave the style just like this one. I mean, I'm not going to choose another one, although I could switch to one of these. I can't change the texture. HD would obviously be better, of course, but I have to subscribe. Alright, I'm gonna generate it like this and see how it turns out. So this is how it turned out. Pretty good. It does have, well, this issue where it looks kind of dented, right? All these models generated this way always have that, but overall it's pretty good. I mean, later at the end I'll mostly share my conclusions about all this, but in this case it could work. I mean, considering what it does, right? For example, here it doesn't interpret it completely correctly because it ends up open. But, well, it's a matter of trying things out. I think that with obviously simpler models, simpler characters, right, it would obviously turn out much better. Alright, going to disable the rigging I did here because when I tried to apply the motion capture animation, it had issues with the skeleton it creates. So I'm going to export it without rigging. Let's select Unreal here. I'll choose it like this first, exporting as Unreal and downloading the FBX. Okay, I downloaded it with this name. Well, one way to do rigging is with Mixamo or with AccuRig, which is also free. I'm gonna try this one first because I like how it turns out the most. If not, I'll try the other one afterwards. Alright, I've loaded it, so I'm gonna place it in the position I need. Here it is in the middle. Here we're gonna set it to full symmetry, and that's it. Now we're gonna tell it to calculate the bones. I'm not going to rig the hand because they're not properly separated in the mesh that was made when it was turned into a 3D model. Alright, and this is how it turned out. The animation looks pretty good considering what we can do with this. Alright, so let's import this already rigged FBX. Let's see if it gives us the option for Unreal. I think it does. Yes, here it gives us the option. So let's select Unreal. For texture, let's set it to the maximum. Okay, so I'm going to import the model I rigged in AccuRig. I'm going to check this because supposedly the model doesn't have a pose. So I think it should be set like this. And for animation, no, because it doesn't have any animation. So let's leave it like that. Alright, and supposedly it imported it. Okay, here I've already placed it in a scene. There are several videos on the channel about how to create an animation scene in Unreal. What I'm going to bring in now are some animations to test it and see if it can really be imported. In this case, I'm going to use motion capture animations from Meshcapade and see if we can apply them to this character with the skeleton we created in AccuRig. Here I'm going to carefully select the specific Meshcapade skeleton that is conveniently provided and readily available as part of the installed plugin. We'll then proceed to leave this particular setting exactly as it is without any modifications. And similarly, we'll also leave this other setting precisely as it is here, ensuring no changes are made to either. There, it already brought in these animations that I'm going to test with. Let's try with this one, for example. We need to test here with the animation. It would be this one here. We're going to do automatic retargeting, and here we're going to set the robot's skeletal mesh. So I'm going to go here where I downloaded the robot. I'm going to select the skeletal mesh. I think it's this one or this one. This is the one I need to use, and I'm going to click the little arrow here. Yes, indeed, it was precisely this particular one. Well, they are of different sizes, but that absolutely does not affect the retargeting process at all. So let us now try with this specific animation, and we can see that it transfers just fine. So I'm going to export the retarget in case I want to transfer others. I'm going to send it here to this particular folder that I have already meticulously made, and I'm going to send all of these various animations to this other designated folder that I also carefully created right here. Alright, and now here in the sequencer, I'm just going to assign one of the animations to test it, and we can see that yes, it works to assign it an animation. Well, this isn't the best one, right? But anyway, we started from an image created with AI. We turned that into this 3D model, and in turn we were able to animate it. Like I said, the 3D model isn't the best because the problem it has is that, from what I could see, it's the UV map which puts all the UVs very close together, so it ends up looking kind of overlapped. That's the main problem they have for now, because the mesh, all things considered, well, is not that bad, but the issue with the UV texture, that's what doesn't really work well. But anyway, the idea was to see if this process could be done, and it turns out it can be done. And well, as the generators for 3D models from an image keep improving, obviously they'll produce better things. For now, I wouldn't use the kind of headline that says, as many do, 3D modelers are out of a job, because obviously that's not the case at all. And well, after that, it's up to each person to decide, right? Whether you're going to pay for a subscription to generate this kind of model, or if you're going to buy a model from a marketplace. If you search for robot in the Unreal Marketplace, you'll find tons, including many that are free. And well, if you have to pay $20 or $30, sometimes it's better to do that than to generate a model that's not all that great, right? Let's say. But for testing purposes, this works for now. So we'll keep watching to see how this develops. Alright folks, see you in the next video.